Some of you know that I used to work for the M&M Mars Company, and I was the marketing guy for the M&M's candies. And one of the funnest parts about that job is I got to give factory tours when visitors or friends or family would come into town. And there's a part of the tour where they have these huge industrial mixers where they make the chocolate for M&M's. It's like 2 tons of chocolate all in one big vat. And the cocoa's in there, and the sugar's in there, and all this other stuff is in there. But it's all pasty. It doesn't look like chocolate at all. It's big lumps, and big mixers are moving it around. And what happens is at one point in the process, they take this cup of an emulsifier called lecithin. This is one little cup. And they take it and they pour it in this 2-ton vat of chocolate. And what happens is the chocolate immediately liquefies. And all of a sudden, the stuff that didn't look like anything looks like what it's supposed to look like. It looks like chocolate. And as I've gone around over the last 3 months and talked to everyone that I can think to talk to about Charlotte and entrepreneurship, guys in the back, can we keep it down, please? Guys in the back. So as we've been going around, one of the things we've realized in the Charlotte entrepreneurial community, what everyone says is that all the right elements for entrepreneurship and a great entrepreneurial environment for Charlotte are here, but it just hasn't all come together. So the punchline of the presentation tonight is that we hope Packard Place is that cup of lecithin that we're adding to this entrepreneurial community in Charlotte. That even though it represents a very, very small fraction of the mass of the entrepreneurial ecosystems here, it'll be that catalyst that helps it become what it's supposed to be and what we all know it can be. And so that's the point of Packard Place in a nutshell. So with that as a story or an analogy, I want to tell you the story of Packard Place. And it actually starts back in 1898, at the end of the 19th century, a good 100 years ago. And the story starts with a gentleman by the name of James Ward Packard. And now Packard went out in 1898 to buy a horseless carriage. And he went out to buy it from one of the people who had a good reputation, a guy named Alexander Winton. But Packard's experience in buying this horseless carriage wasn't so great. And he was actually bold enough that he wrote a letter to Alexander Winton pointing out all the things that he thought he could improve in his horseless carriage. And there were quite a few things. And in 1898, people were a bit friendlier than they are today. But Alexander Winton didn't really like this message that he got from Packard. So he actually wrote him back, and the basic point of his message back to Packard was, if you think you can do it better, go build your own car. Not only did James Ward Packard build his own car, he became one of the most innovative minds in automotive history, with a list of firsts that literally makes him the poster child for American automotive innovation. Through the Great Depression, through 2 world wars, Packard successfully, and his company, innovated arguably more than any other car company in history. What he did it better, he did it first, and he created and used the emerging technologies of his time to do it. Think about that, 1898. He did it better, he did it first, and he created and used the emerging technologies of his time to do it. How much has really changed in over 100 years of American entrepreneurship? And doesn't that actually really embody the American entrepreneurial spirit? And what's interesting is that spirit that built the Packard Car Company is what built this building. This building was built in 1928 as Packard Place, the showroom for the Packard Automobile Company to sell cars to people in Charlotte. And the building, pictured here, circa 1928, that's the building we're standing in. That little arrow on the 4th floor, that is where you are standing now. That spirit of American entrepreneurship and innovation, that is what is literally in the bones of this building, and why we decided to keep the name Packard Place. We couldn't have pictured or scripted a more perfect poster child or advocate for this building and what this is in terms of the American entrepreneurial spirit. To put some context for that, in 1928, if you were standing in this building, this is the hot new model that would have come out. I think it's the 431 Roadster. It's actually not a bad-looking car, is it? So if you think about it, in 1928, what would have been here instead of you guys would have been a whole bunch of these cars for people to come in and buy. And then in 1951, this building was converted from a parking garage into offices. What's interesting about garages, not only is this garage has a great entrepreneurial history, but garages in America have played a role in entrepreneurship. Almost everyone knows the story of Packard. Actually started in a garage. One of the great American technology companies started in a garage in California. Many people don't know this one. Medtronic, one of the world's leading medical device manufacturers, started in Minneapolis in a garage. I think everyone probably knows this story too. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak started Apple Computers in a garage in California. Anyone want to guess where Google got its start? In a garage. So garages, interestingly, have played this weird role in American entrepreneurial history, and Packard Place started as a garage. So this garage, however, I think its best entrepreneurial days are ahead of it, not behind it. And I think it's kind of fitting that it used to be a garage, kind of ironic that it used to be a garage in terms of turning it what it is. And I think that's why Sarah and I are especially proud tonight to be able to welcome you guys for the first time, welcome the entrepreneurial community Charlotte to Packard Place, a place for innovation, a place for entrepreneurship, and most importantly, a place for community and for the entrepreneurial community to be. Our mission statement, or vision statement, if you want to call it that, is really be that hub, that cup of lecithin in my analogy earlier, that helps bring the entrepreneurial community in Charlotte from skills and business opportunities together in one place. And it's also interesting, if you notice, we were very particular. We called this a launch party. We didn't call it a grand opening. We're holding this party in an unfinished space. Packard Place right now is all about possibility. It's not what is, it's what can be. And that's why it's a launch party. This is a starting gun of a race. It's not the checkered flag finish. Today, right here, this moment, this party is the starting gun for Packard Place and for our entrepreneurial community. We don't know a lot of what Packard Place is going to be. There are 1,000 ideas that are out there. But we do know a couple things that we want it to be, and we want to share those with you. One is we talked about in the first floor, as you guys walked in that lobby, that space on the right, we're going to turn into a space dedicated to entrepreneurs. Think of it as an entrepreneurial community center. And we're going to rebrand that space down on the first floor as the garage at Packard Place, a home for entrepreneurs. And what's going to be resident there is public and private meeting space, a conversation cafe for entrepreneurs to be able to meet with other entrepreneurs, network, talk about possibilities, meet with people. If you have people coming in from out of town that want to understand what entrepreneurship is like in Charlotte, the opportunity to meet there and not have a waitress look at you and wonder if you're going to order a second cup of coffee or when you're getting out of her booth to move on. It's a place where entrepreneurs should be and should hang out. Conference rooms, free Wi-Fi, the ability to have a receptionist, to actually have free parking in downtown Charlotte. Imagine that for visitors. Who's going to be in the garage? This is a list of some of the organizations that we've talked about. And what's interesting about these organizations, from BIG to W3 or Web3 to CR Tech to Charlotte Angel Partners, we as entrepreneurs, we've been gypsies. We've been entrepreneurial gypsies, and we do a great job of beg, borrowing, and steal for meeting locations all around Charlotte, and we get by. We're scrappy. We know how to do that as entrepreneurs. No more. Now, entrepreneurs have a home, a place to call theirs, and no longer do organizations need to be gypsy organizations trying to figure out where they can meet. And that's what that space on the first floor is all about. So that hopefully you all are in this building multiple times a year, and this becomes the place where you feel like you belong. Interestingly, this is what the space looks like, and this is just a rough plan. But this is that hallway that we talked about that you all walked in the front of the building. This being that entrepreneurial conversation cafe, the opportunity for you to come in and have conversations with other entrepreneurs and meet people. This being the training group space where all the different groups in Charlotte can meet, have their meetings and training. We talk about incubator space and some incubator space in here, which we'll talk about in a second, and shared conference rooms and a shared boardroom to be able to, even if you're an entrepreneur, have a boardroom that you're proud to take clients to. And then the opportunity here that we talked about having a commercial grade kitchen in here as well. So we can actually host events in a world-class way, and we won't have to hold them in vacant warehouse space anymore, but to do it in a way that we're proud of as entrepreneurs. So the most important thing for you to realize about the garage is this is not only a welcome, it's a welcome to home, to our new home. And the garage is opening on April 18th. And we're still going to be doing some construction, but in 2 weeks, we'll have that place to call our own. And I think that's pretty cool. A couple other things that we know we're doing. We talked about incubators. The question is, will there be an incubator? Absolutely. It's not the whole building, but there will be an incubator. What will it look like? We don't know. And that's okay. We're all going to figure that out together. One group in particular, though, Bull City Forward, and I think there's a couple representatives, are starting an organization here that I think is going to be called Queen City Forward, that focuses on not only incubating and doing it in a way that creates jobs and opportunity and profit, but does it with a social entrepreneurship connection, so that there's actually benefit coming back and social value being added back. That entrepreneurship doesn't have to be just about profit and jobs. It can do good for the community at the same time. There's another group that's starting what we call a second stage accelerator, not for startups, for groups that are already profitable, they're actually already making it and successful, that are post-revenue, that are companies that are 500,000 in revenue looking to go to 5 million, that might be 5 employees looking to go to 25 employees. And we're going to put them through a 12 to 24-month program of mentorship and living in this space so they can cross that gap of where entrepreneurs sometimes struggle to go from making it to being successful, high-growth, fast-growth companies. The other thing people have asked about is, are there going to be opportunities for co-working? And the answer to the fact of, are we going to have co-working space for smaller companies, 1 or 2 people at a time, where they can get together with other entrepreneurs? And the answer is yes. Interesting, the next question people ask is, going to be free? And the answer is, seriously? I actually had one person ask if we were going to give away all the rent in the building for free, and I kind of scratched my head on that one. And when is that going to be ready? And the answer is sometime in July. So the question is, what does the future hold for Packard Place, and what are we going to do? Interestingly, how many people have heard about this Romere Bearden Park, the great city park that we're trying to build in Charlotte? If you look out that back window, that's where the park's going to go. It's going to go right on our doorstep, this great city park for Charlotte. This would be a view if you were looking at from Panther Stadium down here. There's the city park. There's where Packard Place is going to be. It's going to be a fantastic place to work and to meet. And right in the hub of Charlotte when the traffic flows change because of that. Interestingly, that building, there's Packard Place right there, is a little nondescript right now. And for a place that's all supposed to be about innovation and entrepreneurship, we thought we needed to jazz it up a little bit. So here's one concept of what we might do to the building on the outside. So when you look at the building, it's pretty clear to understand that's not a bank building. And the idea that we want it to stand out, and we want it to be remarkable in what it looks like. How many people have heard of Startup Weekend Charlotte? A couple people? I hope you find out more about this event. It's a fantastic event. It's going to be the first major entrepreneurial event we host in the garage at Packard Place. And it's going to be the weekend of May 13th to the 15th, and we're going to host it down in the garage. How many people know about Charlotte Creates? There was a great event at the Fillmore about 30 days ago. Is anyone there? We talked about holding some follow-up events for that here in the space. It's all about innovation in Charlotte and that creative class that we were trying to create in Charlotte. The Arts and Science Council. We've talked at Charlotte. We have this really interesting thing going on, this blend of art and innovation and entrepreneurship and business. And one of the things we're discussing with the Arts and Science Council is, could we take the garage as a place for artists to show their work in Charlotte and rotate? So imagine being not only in that entrepreneurial space, but being surrounded by innovative artwork that's rotated out with the opportunity to blend art and innovation and business. We've talked to, and Phil was here earlier, but I know he had to leave, but I think there's a couple of board members here. We've talked about partnering with Junior Achievement and what Startup America is trying to do, particularly in the realm of high school students, and getting our high school students being entrepreneurial ready when they graduate as an option to go start businesses. And how do we foster and teach that entrepreneurial spirit into students in middle school and high school? There's also this really, really small event coming to Charlotte you may have heard of, called the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte in 2012. What's interesting for us is we believe this is a great opportunity when the whole world will be looking at Charlotte. And what we want to have happen is when people leave, when the world leaves, they go, wow, I never knew how vibrant, how connected an entrepreneurial community Charlotte had to offer. If you think about the fact, when we say Charlotte now, people don't think entrepreneurship, guess what a great opportunity this is for us to change all that in one fell swoop. And we got 18 months to bring it together. Imagine if this building is humming on all 8 cylinders, pun intended, 18 months from now, what that could do in terms of the image of Charlotte and entrepreneurship. So part of what tonight is all about, this is kind of bringing me to the close, and what tonight is all about is the cheers and the support is fantastic, but you have to participate. More than the bricks and mortars, this is about community. And if the community, if you all don't support what we're trying to do here as a group, this will fail. If you don't participate, this cannot possibly succeed. And so the question is, what can I do to support Packard Place? So what I want you all to do, I know everyone's got their cell phone in their pocket or their purse, so do me a favor, take out your cell phone right now. Yeah, I think you drinks in one hand, you can do cell phones in the other, and get to the place where you can text. Everyone with me? I see a few people not digging for their phones. Everyone with me? I know everyone's got a cell phone. Don't tell me you don't have your cell phone on you. Okay? The first thing I want you to do is we're going to talk about how do we join. And one of the things we do is we have groups here, but we also have a text option. And if you text in your email address to 61253, we promise we will never use it again. You'll get a nice reply message saying we're going to use it one time to send you the opportunity to link into these groups so you know what it is. It's the best way of capturing everyone who's here in one fell swoop. So text your email into 61253. Doing it? Excellent. Part of what we're going to start holding in the garage starting 2 weeks from now is group ideation sessions on what can happen in Packard Place, what is possible, what do we want to see happen here. And that has to, again, come from the community. It has to be crowdsourced from us as an entrepreneurial community. If we don't own it and take ownership for it, it will never reach its potential of what it can be. Okay? The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is talk about it. I think Adam O'Daniel's still here. Where are you, Adam? Adam wrote a fantastic cover article for us in the Charlotte Business Journal, a fantastic partner, a great way to start. The CLT blog folks are here. They've been a fantastic partner for us. But what it's going to take is it's going to take all of you posting on your LinkedIn page, hey, I went to this awesome event. It's going to take you in the social media network talking to your friends. If there's 300 people here tonight, how do you each go talk to 30 people in your network about what's happening here? That's the second thing we need you to do is we need you to talk about it. And importantly, if you know people who in the entrepreneurial world are looking for space and are looking for where they need to be housed, I want it so that they hear Packard Place from 5 different people. Because we have to have entrepreneurs in this building from floor to ceiling to make this the place it can be. And that means you all be in our eyes, ears, and voice. And the last thing that we'd ask is that you use it. Just a couple of quick examples on this. Lone Rider Brewing Company was in the Triangle area. They're trying to come into Charlotte. They're great entrepreneurs. Donated some beer for us tonight. Got some great visibility out of it. Meadows Office Furniture. They're going to help us supply the furniture for the garage downstairs, which is great. And one of the things they did is said, why don't we take the whole building, take the collective buying power of all the companies that are going to be in the building, and then we can buy like Lowe's buys, or Bank of America, or Duke Energy. Why shouldn't our entrepreneurs be able to buy with the same buying power that Fortune 500 companies buy with? Just some great examples of what we can do when we put our mind to it. So here's the big close. So pay attention on this one if we can. As we went out and talked to people, what everyone has said to Sarah and I over and over again is said, wow, you guys have made a really, really big bet. And it's true, we have. But the surprise is the bet isn't on the building. The bet is on you, and you, and you. The bet is on the entrepreneurial community, that the entrepreneurial community will rally behind what we're trying to do here. That's the bet that we've made. The building isn't important, it's the community that's important. And so this is your invitation to go on that journey with us, not knowing where it's going to lead and not knowing what the outcome is, and it shouldn't be all prescribed. You guys have to help determine what that outcome is. You take it all the way back to what James Ward Packard said, and everyone in the Charlotte entrepreneurial community says this. They know, you all know that we can do better. And so you have a choice. Tonight, right here, you have a choice. Right? You can be Alexander Walton or you can be James Ward Packard. Who do you want to be? Do you think we can do it better? Personally, I choose to be James Ward Packard. And if you think about that brass script that we walked over when we came in here, that was laid in the ground in 1928, almost 100 years ago, every time I walk over that entrepreneurial threshold, I want to remind myself that I want to be James Ward Packard. And that's the challenge I would throw out to all of you, is that we have to choose to do it better. And we know we can do it better. This is, for us, this has to be an entrepreneurial revolution. And we have to be the revolutionaries. We are the ones that have to make this happen in Charlotte. And really, and this is one thing I would say, that I'm tired of apologizing for being an entrepreneur in Charlotte. And we need to stop apologizing for being entrepreneurs. So this is a great opportunity for us to try and make that happen here, today, right now. What I also think is interesting is all of you get to say you were here at the moment it happened. The moment that we drew a line in the sand and said things are changing for the entrepreneurial community in Charlotte. It's happening right here, tonight, this moment, and you were here. So we talk about 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, you all were the ones that made it happen by being here. So the question we get asked more often than anything else is, when is Packard Place going to open? So the question tonight, are you guys ready to help us launch Packard Place? Come on, you can do better than that. Are you ready to help us launch Packard Place? All right. So Diego, if you please, you ready for the countdown? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
launch. Thank you all for coming. Keep drinking.